Hi, everybody. I hope that you're having a great day. My name is Tina, and I'm making another video on a book review. This one is slightly different from my last video in that I talked about a book that I had read several years ago, which really influenced me, in that this is a video about the book I wrote, actually, and also is a video about an opportunity we both have to help contribute to our local community. Because what I've decided to do with this book, I'm going to tell you what it's called in a minute, is I'm going to donate $1 for every book that I sell to the local Big Brothers and Big Sisters organization. So if that is a charity that you believe in strongly or has helped you in the past, I highly recommend that you check out my book because that is my goal, and I will do a follow-up video if I succeed in raising $100,000 for that charity, that showing you the certified check that I'm going to give them essentially. So this is the book right here. It's called Unlikely Righteousness, and like all books, it was not completely my idea. This one was very much inspired by other books and is similar to if you've ever read Bad Girls of the Bible by Liz Curtis Higgs. That book I read several years ago when I was a teenager, and it really influenced me because I liked what she did in that she took various women from the Bible, some that are well known, some that aren't, and she told us their story and also told us what we can learn from them. Because one of the truths of life, and the longer you live, the more you realize, is you can learn something from everybody. You can learn how you don't want to live. You can learn how you want to live. You can learn how to be successful. You can learn how to fail and thereby do the opposite so you don't fail. But you can learn from everybody. And so I took a similar tack with this book. And what I did is I looked up in mainly Genesis and Exodus various people who fell into one of three categories. One of them was either they had been righteous or obeying God's commandments and then fell off the bandwagon, or they had been disobeying the commandments and got back on the bandwagon. So at some point in their life, they were righteous, and I felt like we should definitely honor them for that. The second one were normally when we look at the Bible, we think about only the nations that are with Israel or Israel in general because that's who it focuses on. And yet there's numerous people that can be named, such as Naaman, the Syrian who had leprosy, who went and talked to the prophet and was healed, that you wouldn't normally think they'd be receptive to God's plan. But the beautiful thing about their story is that we learned that not only were they, but God cared about them too. And so he's not in the book. I haven't quite made it there yet. I'm hoping to do a follow-up at a later time. But there is a Philistine king named Abimelech, for example, who was a great spiritual leader and actually had a conversation with God in his dream. And so that was really exciting to me. And so people you wouldn't normally expect to be receptive to God's commandments and were. And then the third category were people who didn't use the difficult circumstance they found themselves in to disobey the commandments. And this was actually inspired by when I was reading the New Testament several years ago, and that I was looking at what Christ's followers did after his crucifixion. And it says that they actually stopped preparing his body because they wanted to honor the Sabbath. And in our world, unfortunately, we see a lot of people who use difficult situation to justify doing the wrong thing. But these people had such a great love for their master and also for the commandments he had taught them to live that they stopped what they were doing, which would have been really hard for them, and obeyed that commandment. And I found a few examples in the Old Testament of that as well. So, for example, at the beginning of the Exodus, we meet the Israeli midwives, Shiphrah and Puah, who, despite being told by the king they needed to kill infant boys, said no, and as a result, they were rewarded for it. They put themselves and their families at great risk by disobeying him like that, but because they chose to do the right thing, they were blessed. And that's an inspirational story. And so I chose the people in this book because they're not necessarily well known. Their names may be unknown at all, or it's just when we think about a particular story, we never really focus on them. So a great example of that, for example, is I covered Abraham's servant. Incredibly faithful man, but unfortunately, we don't even know his name. I haven't read the Hebrew or Greek text, so I just want to clarify, I don't know if it's listed in there. But we don't know his name according to the modern Bible, and yet he shows great faith. He shows great tenacity, and I don't understand why we never talk about him because he's incredible in his own right. And so that was what I was doing. And now as I was saying, what I would like to do is for every copy of the book that is purchased, I'm going to give $1 to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters Association of Canada. The reason is because I was fortunate in that I had lots of great mentors when I was growing up, whether they be teachers, my parents supported me, and various other people who influenced my life. And that is association will help build future leaders. And we honestly don't know who's going to do what. So I want to be able to give back to them in order to help those kids out so that they can shape the world to be a better place. So if you click on the link below, you can go find it on Amazon. It is available on Amazon.ca, and if, like me, you live in the Lethbridge area, it's currently available at Chapters. Hopefully it will be available at a Chapters near you in the near future. But the goal is $100,000 to the Big Brothers and Big Sisters Association. So if you know of anybody who might be interested in this book, please share this message with them. And I hope that you enjoy it. Have a great day. Bye.